began as a rumor in the music industry, trouble inside Coldplay's management. But this wasn't just another HR complaint. It erupted into a scandal involving a world-famous band and a powerful executive. The twist? The executive was Eleanor Cabot Hayes, head of HR, and a direct descendant of Boston's elite Cabot family. Suddenly, this was more than a workplace dispute. It was a collision of celebrity culture and old money privilege. The Cabot name carries weight in Boston's most exclusive circles, American royalty, the so-called Boston Brahmins. The scandal forced the private world of the Brahmins into the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Allegations of a toxic work environment quickly became a story about class, history, and power. News outlets dug into the Cabot legacy, asking, why does this family still matter? The story became a lesson in how names from the past still shape the present. It wasn't just about Coldplay anymore, it was about the enduring influence of the Cabots. The scandal sent shockwaves from London's concert halls to Boston's Beacon Hill. It exposed the tension between old money's quiet influence and the relentless spotlight of modern fame. The Cabot name, once a shield, now drew intense scrutiny. The public wanted to know, does privilege excuse bad behavior? The story became a symbol of how the past refuses to stay buried. For the first time, the Brahmins' world was forced into the open. The rules had changed, and the Cabots could no longer play by their own. This was no longer just a music scandal. It was a reckoning for America's old elite. Who are the Boston Brahmins? They're the descendants of New England's earliest English settlers, families like Lowell, Lodge, and Cabot. These families built fortunes in shipping, law, and finance, and founded institutions like Harvard and the Boston Athenaeum. They created an exclusive social class, marrying within their circle and living in grand homes on Beacon Hill. Their power wasn't just money, it was tradition, connections, and a sense of duty to shape American culture. They valued understatement, intellect, and quiet confidence, shunning the flashiness of new money. The Brahmins acted as America's unofficial aristocracy, their influence woven into the nation's fabric. Eleanor Cabot Hayes wasn't just a wealthy executive, she was a product of this insular world. Her background brought a unique set of expectations and a buffer from ordinary problems. When workplace allegations surfaced, her Brahmin heritage made the story more than personal. It became a question of whether old privilege still puts people above the rules. The public was fascinated. Was this just one executive's failing, or a symptom of a deeper inherited attitude? The scandal forced a rare look inside a world that usually stays hidden. The Brahmins' legacy was suddenly on trial. There's an old Boston toast, where the Lowells talk only to Cabots, and the Cabots talk only to God. This isn't just a joke, it's a window into the Brahmin mindset, exclusive, self-assured, and set apart. The Cabots' motto signaled a belief in their own superiority and a fierce sense of privacy. For generations, this attitude protected their status and wealth, but in the modern world, it can look like arrogance and detachment. The irony? Someone from a family that talks only to God was in charge of employee relations. The motto, once a badge of pride, now seemed out of touch. The scandal exposed how old attitudes can clash with today's expectations of transparency and fairness. The Cabot legacy became a headline about privilege and its pitfalls. The scandal began with anonymous complaints about a toxic culture in Coldplay's management, led by Eleanor Cabot Hayes. Allegations of favoritism and dismissiveness surfaced, but things escalated when former employees went public with evidence. Coldplay's progressive image was suddenly at odds with reports of workplace dysfunction. Then, journalists uncovered Hayes' Brahmin roots, turning a corporate drama into a cultural event. The Cabot connection made the story irresistible. Now it was about the power of old money dynasties. Media coverage dove into the family's history, quoting the famous motto and exploring their influence. The scandal became a classic tale of the powerful versus the powerless. Hayes' name, once an asset, now fueled public anger and perceptions of arrogance. The story showed that in the age of social media, even the most privileged can't hide from accountability. The walls around the Brahmin world had finally come down. Old money met modern mayhem and lost its shield. Why are we so captivated by scandals involving the elite? They reveal that old networks of power still shape our world, even in unexpected places. We're drawn to these stories out of curiosity, but also a desire for justice. When the privileged are accused of wrongdoing, it sparks questions about fairness and accountability. The Coldplay scandal became a lens for examining class, privilege, and the rules that govern society. It confirmed suspicions that some people still play by different rules. These stories entertain us, but they also reflect our anxieties about power and justice. In the end, even the most storied names can't escape the court of public opinion.